What's up guys, it's BenImparts back at you again with another episode of this Cryptid cast series where I discuss cryptids, I break down their sightings, their possibilities, and if they could or could not be real. And today we've got a real treat for you, a real doozy, a real famous one, the Wendigo. A cryptid that as much horrifies people as it does fascinate them, as much draw them in as it does repulse them. And from what some stories say, it is all pervasive. And in fact, there's even an actual medical syndrome, a medical condition associated with it, so pervasive is it and so strongly is it said to exist. So today we're going to break down the Wendigo, what it could be, its sightings and everything that's associated with it. If you like this video, please subscribe, drop me a comment and hit the bell button. It helps me out a ton in the algorithm. I upload every one of these every day between 5:30 PM and 6 PM English time. I go on people's suggestions, so please leave me some. And without further ado, let's get into it. The Wendigo, also known as the Windigo, the Wittigo, the Wittico, and the Wee-Tigo, is a creature from Algonquian myth. It's a creature from Native American myth in Canada and also in America too. Sometimes it's inaccurately translated as meaning cannibal, but it actually means the name, the evil spirit that devours mankind. And it's called the evil spirit that devours mankind for a reason. The Wendigo is an insatiably hungry, evil spirit. It has a specific hunger for human flesh. A person will eat the flesh of another person unjustly when there's no excuse. They will develop, in the wild or in a township, an insane craving for human flesh, an insatiable craving that cannot be cured, and they will then turn into a Wendigo over time. No matter how much they eat of human flesh, they cannot be fulfilled. They will grow gaunter and gaunter and gaunter while perversely being more and more and more hungry. They will wander the wild, they will prey on people, and then other people will turn into Wendigos and the vicious cycle will continue. It's a spirit that has absolutely no redeeming traits whatsoever. There's never any hint of the Wendigo, the Skinwalker, or any cryptid like it ever actually doing something positive for people. It's an evil spirit that likes to live among its own kind, and the only time it likes to wander among people is when it's preying on those people. Wendigos are said to live in Canada and the United States, and they seem to prefer cold climates. They do not like hot climates at all. We're not sure why that is. It could be that somehow it's a spirit that thrives in the cold because that's when it's best for hunting people. It could be that the warmth somehow disrupts its smell. It covers scents, it doesn't help it feed, but either way, they only like cold climates. There have been stories of Wendigos in warmer climates, but in those stories they've been much rarer, and it seems like those Wendigos are either transient, have maybe been expelled from their communities, or maybe outliers, we don't know. They've been seen around Kenora in Ontario, Canada for quite some time, but in the late 1800s and early 1920s, there were stories of Wendigo around Roseau, Minnesota, around Michigan, all around North America, and especially around Canada, there have been Wendigo sightings. There are even supposed Wendigo hotspots like the Cape of the Wendigo, which is near Lake Mamigues in Ontario, Canada. This cave is a place where you can allegedly find Wendigos if you go there, but understandably the natives don't like to go there. It's said to either have Wendigos in it or to have been inhabited by Wendigos at one point. Like I said, Wendigos, they don't like to be around people. They tend to stick to their own. But at the same time, they like to be around people as far as prey goes. They are a being that is greatly feared, a spirit that is greatly feared by the locals. And in fact, natives in America and Canada don't even like to say the name Wendigo too much, just like with other cryptids, other evil spirits, because it's believed that actually saying the name too much gives them a kind of power and draws them into you. Saying their name somehow has some kind of demonic power, and it will somehow lure them to you. They might attach themselves to you, they might prey on you. Saying the name is not a good idea. The looks of the Wendigo vary quite differently between the different Algonquian tribes, but most versions of the Wendigo have glowing eyes, yellow, hideous, mangled fangs, long tongues, and they are at least 15 feet or 4.6 meters tall. And obviously they're said to be thin and emaciated. The skin stretches so tight over their body that you can see their bones. In some cases they've got the head of a stag, or they wear, a stag's skull mask with antlers on, or they have actual antlers and the stag's head is part of them. In other stories they have sunken eyes. In other stories they also sometimes get to the point of looking skeletal. They have ashen skin. They look like some kind of mixture of a corpse and an animal, if a corpse and an animal had a baby, and let me assure you, it's not a very pleasant sight. It's also said, and this links into what I've said before, that one of the reasons people will become insatiably hungry is Wendigo possession. And this can happen in numerous ways. If someone's out in the wild for a long time alone and isolated, if they're a person who's known to do evil things and go around looking at night for something they shouldn't, if they're known to have trouble or trauma or bad energy that comes from their life, the Wendigo will be drawn to them, it will possess this person, it will inhabit this person. So according to the stories, that's how the Wendigo spreads. It latches onto people, it possesses them, it drains them of energy, it turns them into Wendigos, and sometimes it moves on to the next person when it's utterly ruined this or that person's life. So it is absolutely a parasitical being. This evil spirit not only possesses people, not only eats people, not only preys on vulnerable people, but it's like a cannibal of souls, because it's often said to be a human being devouring another human being, all in the name of gluttony and enriching itself. So it's definitely a very dark, malevolent force. And there's an actual hunger named after it. There's an actual Wendigo syndrome, it's called, or Wendigo sickness, where someone has a bizarre desire to engage in cannibalism and engages in it. It's actually a medical term, so pervasive is the term Wendigo. Wendigos are also said to be able to move incredibly fast and stealthily. They can mimic human voices, much like crows and rooks. They have incredible hunting skills. To survive in such harsh climates, they have to have these things. But what could the Wendigo be? I think it's very obvious in this case that it's not a cryptid per se, in the sense that it's an animal, but it's an evil spirit. It's a genie, aka a demon, aka a jinn, aka a spirit guide, aka a nature guide. It's a evil spirit, and good and evil spirits, I believe, exist all around us. They inhabit the world of the unseen. They take certain forms, some of them more pleasant, some of them more weird, when they want to be seen by us. They have incredible speed and power, and you find this in the scriptures. You find in the Quran that the jinns can move like that. One of them brought back an entire throne just like that. You find stories of them having incredible power and strength to lift things. You find stories of them latching onto and desiring humans and possessing them, either out of love or hatred. You find stories throughout all religions of the world on how jinn, aka demon possession, creates irritability and mood swings and mental health problems and hallucinations. This is clearly a very evil, very malevolent, very dark spirit. It's not one of the positive nature spirits that say, we'll guide you out of the forest, or we'll leave you supplies, or we'll just come and look at you out of curiosity because it's never seen a human before. This thing absolutely knows what humans are, and it absolutely preys on them. I don't believe personally that a Wendigo can turn someone into a Wendigo. I think the spirit realm and the human realm are very clearly different, but I think that it can possess people. And when it possesses people, it seems to other people like that person is like the Wendigo, because they lose their appetite, they become thin, they become withdrawn, antsy, angry, argumentative, tempestuous, all the signs of demon possession. So this is clearly a very scary demon. But what do you guys think? Have you ever known anyone who's seen a Wendigo? Anyone who's experienced a Wendigo? Anyone who's had Wendigo possession or has had to exercise themselves of this? Please leave me a comment section in the comment section. Leave me a comment below. I greatly appreciate it. Leave me a suggestion for the next video. Drop me a subscribe. I make one of these every day, and I look forward to seeing you in episode 16.